Welcome back to Beyond All Reason. It's Jaws Munch, and today we're going to be talking about how to survive when you are completely outmatched. Opposite of us, we are going up against Azrael. Azrael, I think is how you would say that. He is a legendary 51 OS player. And a lot of you have made mention in some of my videos that you would like going over some difficult scenarios and how to survive. And so this is going to be a prime example of what to do when you are outmatched and how to just hold your own and try your very best not to get completely squashed. Now here side by side we have Gonk the Great. He is a legendary follower of mine. He is generally in every single stream that we do, and I definitely appreciate him for that. He definitely has a blast as we try to play at relatively the same time. He is 37 OS, whereas I only shine a wimpy little 27 OS. But, you know, we're working on it. We're trying to get to that beautiful 30 OS mark. So we're sending our commander off to the front lines here, getting just the metal extractors as quickly as possible. A couple high value metal extractors here, 27, or 2.8, I mean. Sorry, 2.8, a 1.8, and then some more 2.8 up here on this beautiful map of Bismuth Valley. Got one constructor coming back here to get these metal extractors while our commander makes forward progress getting our forward mixes. Excuse me. Pardon me. And we have our special little blueprint here, which I will likely be making a video on this blueprint and what I think of it so far, as I have made a couple shifts and changes to what I have been doing with blueprints lately. Anyway, getting a couple energy converters. You can see we are overflowing, and we want to try to avoid that if possible. We want to try to maintain a proper balance of energy income and energy consumption as much as possible, but you know how it sometimes doesn't work out that way. We got a couple rovers going out just for scouting here, just to see where we're going to end up and who we're up against, because right now we really have no idea what's going on. We have a couple people sighted, but no one too crazy. We have green, purple, light blue, dark purple, light purple, cyan, I think it might be called, and now we have finally discovered that we are up against blue himself, the 51 OS player. And honestly, I'm just being honest, this did not kick in who I was up against until much later into this game. So I'm just kind of, you know, playing my normal Beyond All Reason. I'm like, oh, I'm up against blue, the best of their team, but I didn't really kick in of how good he actually was. Which is unfortunate, because I would have played a little bit different and played a little bit more cautiously than I did here. So we're going for a Rover Janus spam. We want to try to kind of get a kill on the commander. That's our hope anyway. You know, that was kind of what me and Gonk had talked about. We are like, hey, let's try to do a mix of Janus and maybe some artillery and try to push them back. But then Gonk ended up going bots, so now we have just some rocket bots coming out as well. So we got a decent amount of rovers. The reason why I'm building so many rovers is just for support on vision, and then also to tank any shots that do come after us. So if they have anything that's like larger artillery or something of that nature, we want to be able to block those shots with these rovers. They only cost 30 metal apiece, so very, very cheap compared to our 240 metal Janus. So it is just a precaution to keep our Janus alive. So we're going to be going in and preparing for the swoop. That's something really important when you're using Janus, is that when you're doing your attack, you swoop out, you swoop into the fight and then swoop out of the fight. That gives you the optimal reset so that you come into the range of damage and then exit the range as well, because you don't want to stay in the fight for too long when using the Janus. And Azrael, he's going to be doing a unique play. He's going to largely be building one You can see he's just building this guy on repeat. And the point is to distract the missile fire of the Janus so that he does not personally take any damage. So it's just kind of a little gimmicky way to save himself from getting very much damage. But thankfully, he does end up getting kind of pushed back. Gonk the Great holding quite well, but we have basically the two top players. One is the second to the top, and the other one is the top player that we're going to be facing. So Gonk is dealing with as much as he can over here, kind of getting 2v1, but I'm continuing to put pressure. You know, we want to try to even out our pressure and maintain a solid front line here. And so that is what ends up happening. We end up getting a bit of a lucky play and pushing them further back, which is great. So now they're on their back line and we're on our, you know, on the up and up. Unfortunately, I think we end up having some leaking happening here. So Gonk and me are kind of just keeping an eye on this side since we have so many explosions happening. Usually that's not a great sign. Unfortunately, I went AFK here. And he punishes me quite hard with that D-gun. Wiped out all of my Janus. I got a couple artillery pieces that are going to help here. Yeah, I think I went back to change my build or to verify that something was not leaking into our base. And that's why I lost those, unfortunately. But yeah, we're holding our own. These rocket bots pushing up on us, and now we're getting to the point where our artillery pieces are going to start dying, which is not great. I'm trying to remember what on earth I was looking at earlier, but I definitely had some distraction and was not properly planning things on the front line. So we lost a couple units, and that was relatively bad. What I would recommend is if you are facing, just generally, if you're facing a higher level OS player, to be very, very cautious and build a lot more defensively if you get the chance. Just because usually defenses can zone out a player a little bit better than building actual units. So I find that works out relatively well. Like if we had one constructor up here and we built one heavy laser turret, that would have helped us a ton to zone out these rocket bots, but we just didn't plan on it nor like actually, you know, realize that we needed to by the time that we should have, which is a bit unfortunate, but you know, that's how it is. You make mistakes, you live and you learn. We got some good hits with that Janus, but they are definitely coming in with that rocket fire. Thankfully, Gonk's got a few extra pawns he's going to sacrifice into these laser turrets. Thankfully, we wipe out most of his LLTs, so now he's in a pretty susceptible area. Yeah, it would have been nice to have those artillery pieces that I had built just a little bit longer, because that would have helped zone us out a little bit further. So Gonk, we're both kind of in a bad situation. We're just slowly scaling. I am keeping an eye on my energy production. That's really the one thing I'm hoping for, is that we maintain a decent amount of energy production and can maybe outscale that way a little bit, just so we have a light advantage, because right now he's getting a lot of metal, he's getting a lot of pressure on us, and we're really on the back foot on this one. So we try to get as much of this reclaim as we safely can, while just continuing to poke in and out as much as we can while holding. It's pretty tough situation. And he went T2, so I kind of figured I wouldn't go T2 because of that. So I just kept holding the same as I was, knowing that if both of us went T2, we would have much less impact on the front line, and we would have a harder time actually holding. Because now, at least, since he's going T2, I can just stay T1 and put most of my metal and energy into the front line and holding it. So, blue, he has not gone T2 yet either. Oh, wait, he did. He just got T2 out. So, we're going to be in a bit of trouble here. We're going to be T2 versus T2, and I'm just waiting for Gonk. I honestly wanted him to get me some constructors too, so I can upgrade my metal extractors, because I don't want to invest too much into a lab that's not going to really give us any proper value yet. So we are holding. Gonk sends me a decent amount of energy, which is good because I was running out of energy, and we start spamming a couple of whistlers as well. We switch over to a whistler spam, which, you know, that's not really a bad decision. Whistlers are decent, and this is where we find out he's got T2. Gonk says he's got Shellies, and so I try to kind of distract the fire here a little bit. You see, they're targeting me but can't hit me because my commander's cloaked. This is a really decent strategy for if you are dealing with not shuriken, but artillery, any type of artillery, Sheldon, hounds, anything like this. You can just leave your commander cloaked right here in the middle of the ground, and most of their weapon fire will dissipate in the wrong area because they don't have vision. They cannot tell where the commander is. And we're just holding. We're just holding and distracting and keeping them from getting any value with what they have. We have Whistler spam, and the fact that he has Sheldon, you can see I'm switching over to a Juno and Rovers. Sheldon are going to be very, very effective against Whistlers because Whistlers are slow, but they have decent range, but they don't outrange the Sheldon. So they're just going to get poked down by Sheldon relatively easily. But I have to work with what I have at this point. Now, because we're facing the two higher players, that means over here, they're going to have a little bit of an easier time pushing. So we just need to lose very slowly. We're trying to drag out our loss as much as possible, because there's not really any way we're going to win this unless we get lucky or unless blue makes a massive mistake. The thing is, he's a high-level player. He's not going to make a massive mistake, more than likely. More than likely, he will do very well and play at an expert level. So, we're not really hoping for that. Oh. Excuse me. I don't know why I'm sneezing and stuff. Anyway, we got a constructor. Or no, we didn't get a constructor, which is unfortunate. I would have liked to have a constructor earlier, but we were pumping out T3 or T2 units just to have them because we needed something to deal with the T2 that he had, that blue had. So we got some radar, we got some jammers. That is helping us. And I think we're planning on getting snipers out. Yep, we got a couple snipers and a couple good D-guns. Couple good D-guns there. And our jammer got hit, so he lost his jamming capability. That's an interesting thing. Some jammers, if they get attacked, I think it's mostly just the bot jammers. If they get hit, then they don't have their radar jamming any longer. So you can see here, he's telling me to cloak again. So I'm going to be cloaking. I'm waiting. I'm not cloaking yet because I don't want to waste my energy. I want to wait until we actually have to cloak. Then I'm going to be cloaking my commander and getting ready for some D-guns again. So we're just holding. We don't really have to do too much here. And I think I might cloak soon. Yeah, I pressed the cloak button, but I'm still visible. There, now I'm cloaked finally. Yeah, I messed that up, unfortunately. I had pressed the cloak button, but when you're getting hit, you don't really have... You can't really cloak. It's just a weird issue where the fire makes it so you're incapable of cloaking. So that was a weird issue I ran into there. Anyway, we got our T2 up, and we have our metal extractors upgraded slightly, just a couple of them. And we're gonna now that we're kind of in a point where we can, I'm getting these ones upgraded, and then we'll call it good. We just need to keep the unit production up and keep an eye on their front lines. So Sheldon still putting in work, mostly attacking orange here, or like brown, I guess you would call him. And his income hasn't really scaled that much. Blue's just mostly been focusing on upgrading his metal extractors. He has not scaled his energy hardly at all. And honestly, we're in a decent position, because let's see, where's my income at? I'm at 20 metal per second. Blue's at 40, so he's got like twice as much metal as me, but we have way less actual ground on our side. And if you look over here, no, not Blue's. If you look over here, we are gaining an advantage with Red. Red is putting in a lot of work and definitely pushing his opponent in. So we just really have to hold. Snipers have come out, and so on occasion I'm gonna start sharing energy to Gonk. I need him to be able to fire those snipers and keep Blue from pushing us. I think Turquoise may have been scaling. Yeah, you can see his energy production is much larger. He's at a 70 metal income, 3k energy income, whereas I'm at what, 400 energy income, and Gonk is at 500 energy income. So Turquoise has scaled quite well on the energy department. Welder's putting in some work. It's really just a slow burn. Slow burn, making sure that we stay alive. Okay, I'm actually gonna skip past some of this part because we're gonna play pretty passively here. Alright, so we have some ticks pushing in on us. I'm probably gonna end up launching our Juno. Yep, there's our Juno missile. So the Juno missile is really effective because it can actually wipe out any scout units, such as ticks, and it also will wipe out any radar units or radar jamming units. So this is a radar jammer that got killed. Radar unit also got killed, and that makes it much harder for Blue to be able to push in, because now they have nothing to push with. If they push in without vision, they're just going to get eliminated. Like their vision is going to be quite low. See, they only can see one of our units because they have no radar. And this is something where the Juno is extremely strong and very effective for countering artillery. I think that's something a lot of people don't take advantage of, is the fact that the Juno is so good at countering artillery. Because if they had a Juno missile and they popped it right here, our artillery would be extremely weakened by it. But instead, we get basically just free damage. I eat the lab and I decide to eco up, and I think I start sharing a little bit of energy with Gonk on occasion here, just because he's the one with the most of the army, and I'm just feeding him a little bit that I have as well. Pumping out rovers. That's about it. That's all we can afford. A couple rovers. There we go, more energy, just making sure these snipers can get out their shots. We don't have much, but we have a couple snipers, and that's what we're gonna have to hold with. So I'm kind of taking the role of a support, to be honest, while he's taking the more aggressive path. Rovers here, just, you may think, oh, these are pointless. They aren't. They definitely are not pointless. They help block shots. They help distract artillery fire. And you'll see here, once the artillery starts raining down, these rovers are going to become even more valuable. So I'm going to push them now and get on top of them with these rovers. And the other artillery are going to shell down the rovers that I just pushed in. And what that means is that the artillery that blue has is going to kill his own artillery. So he's going to shoot his artillery into his own artillery and blow up his stuff for me. It's basically using his artillery against him. See, every once in a while you'll see some of these large shots come down, and that's just him. That's just him wasting his own units. There we go, a nice big Juno that wipes out all of their vision once again. So let's check and see what they got for vision. It's quite limited. They still have a decent amount because they have the anti-intrusion system right here. This anti-intrusion system makes it a lot easier to actually see what's going on. But for the most part, they really have no vision because of that Juno missile. I'm telling you, the Juno missile is underused, dramatically underused in this game. So now we're gonna start pumping out units because we have a bit more economy than Gonk, I think, at this point. Yeah, we're basically tied, I guess. And I'm gonna start getting out some anti-static defense, because what I noticed on this map is that he had built a persecutor and he had artillery, and really he was playing somewhat defensive. You know, that's another persecutor. There's two of them there. And so why not just build some anti-static, which is exactly what the ambassador's for. The ambassador is very capable of completely wiping out any type of units that are long range, because it fires slow but has a very devastating shot. And you can see I'm targeting up here a couple static units with that ambassador. So we're gonna be shooting for these guys here, since they are likely not gonna be moving. Now, another nice thing about the ambassador is that it has auto radar jamming, so you can't really see it unless you get eyes on it. So you have to physically get eyes on the ambassador in order to be able to attack it, really, since it has automatic radar jamming. It's built in, which I believe is what you would call the stealthy characteristic. Yeah, stealthy rocket launcher. It has stealth in it, which means that it cannot be seen through radar. So now we just keep spamming, which is good. And you see, we're not trying to build too much. We have some artillery pieces, but we're not building a ton. We're just largely building defense and trying to also keep our eco somewhat viable, because we just have to hold. You know, Red is making work. He is making moves, pushing through, and we are just holding the line. Barely, but we are holding. And he's got some ambassadors of his own. I didn't even notice he had those. Oh yeah, he's got vision of the rattlesnake. That's damage right there. Boom, 50% HP, 10%. So that rattlesnake will die so fast versus the ambassadors. So this might actually kill it right here. Yep, eliminated. That's why ambassadors are extremely good for wiping out static defense right there. Just 3 shots and a whole entire rattlesnake is just gone. So we start bringing in a couple artillery. We're just kind of testing to see what they have, you know, how well can they defend against what we have compiled. And honestly, we hold pretty well. But then we've come to find out they have a catapult, which makes life so much more difficult. an entire catapult that we have to deal with. They also have starlights, but thankfully they're relatively weak. Their front line didn't hold that well. His economy is about as large as mine, for blue anyway. Whereas for turquoise, his economy is quite massive. So we killed his commander, and now we're gonna be getting a lot of reclaim here. I believe I prioed reclaim. If I didn't, that's a shame on me. Yeah, I was still focusing on pushing forward, trying to get vision. Some starlights there, and getting my ambassadors firing away, targeting these static defenses. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. My computer just glitched out a little bit there. Yeah, just spamming and slowly chipping away at the defenses. That's really what it's about. Holding the line and getting this reclaim out, which is good. Got a couple resbots coming out on my end, and then a couple butlers from Gonk. Eating that delicious reclaim. And at some point I end up telling Red he's got to hurry or we're gonna lose. And that's always a good thing to tell, you know, your allies, hey, by the way, I might lose. And I always say it with a ping. I ping where they're gonna be looking. You better hurry, otherwise we're gonna lose, you know? Just so they can actually see it. Yeah, these snipers that Gonk had just saved the day. Had so much value this game. Oh, these catapults coming in hard. So much damage. But, as we all know, catapults are somewhat susceptible to light units, such as ticks. We're just holding the line, holding the line. Couple bombers here, looks like. We go for a risky Aphis. Honestly, probably a bad idea. I don't know why I went for an Aphis. A little bit risky there, boys. We have just a handful of units, and now going for an Aphis, it's like, maybe bad timing. I know that I wanted to use all this metal to gain an economy advantage, but it was definitely risky. Ooh, some bombers going for a delicious bombing run here. Ooh, man, most of those guys just, yep, all shredded. That's unfortunate. Quite unfortunate. Gonk getting ready for the D-gun. And we have our Aphis. And immediately I'm going to be putting down a T2 lab. Oh, T3. I didn't remember I wanted T3. I thought for sure I would have gone T2. Yeah, I think Starlights might have been a good option here, especially with those demons. But, you know, T3 is good too. I don't remember what I was planning. Like, the fact that I'm not freaking out that there's a million T3 at our doorstep is just ridiculous. But Red, putting in the work, still holding the line. Doing excellent, while me and Gonk just slowly collapse. Comp has no AA. Oh, Gonk is done. Oh, man. Yeah, we did not hold this very well. We were toast. Oh, boy. Yes, we got wiped. Gonk is just spamming out welders, hoping for the best. Oh my word. Thankfully, we have a couple metal extractors still in the back. Red putting in some work here. After my base died, I said, win now. I don't remember where I said that. I said, you have to win now, essentially. So he would know that our line has officially collapsed and that we are on the back foot. And this is where I'm like, okay, we held for a long time, but we're done for. Like, our team is gone. Red needs to be faster than blue. Yeah, it's like a race against the clock. Which side will collapse first? Our air player's almost dead. Orange got wiped. But it looks like the blue team's getting the resign vote out because they don't see us winning this. Or they don't see themselves winning this. Oh man, pushing on the side. Wiping our air player, poor guy. We only held them back for so long. I definitely should have gone for T2 and Starlights. If I had gone T2 Starlights instead of T3, that would have been a much smarter play. I honestly have no idea why I went T3 instead of T2. Bother. But Red is at their back line, wiping the base. It's just a question of which will get there first. The Razorbacks or the Demons? Demon getting ready to blow up this beautiful Aphis. Boom! And dead. I think that was the last T3 unit that blue had on the back line, whereas red is still, you know, Razorbacks go burr. Being quite effective. And the ticks pushing in, getting vision while harassing some of the economy. And that is it. They called a surrender vote. Held for as long as we could. So I hope you guys enjoyed that. I don't think I played as good as I could have. I know I made a lot of mistakes there. But really, the key is, if you're up against a really good player, just try to stall as long as possible and let your allies take the other side of the map. That's really all you can hope for. Anyway, I hope you guys learned something and had a good time watching this video. And if you guys did, definitely subscribe and like the video. It's much appreciated. And I will see you guys on the next one.